Marvel Contest of Champions over the years. Hello everybody. This is going to be a little video that's going to go over the evolution of the game from when it was first in a beta period of 2014 to where it is now in 2021. Looking at different types of things like the evolution of the UI, evolution of profile pictures, right the way through to gameplay and other elements like that. Also do bear in mind this is one of these videos that I've had on my list to make for literally years. And unfortunately, because other videos have taken priority, I haven't been able to make them. But I will be going back to a lot of old guides, new guides, and as well requested videos by you, the community, over on Discord. Let's begin our journey back over in 2014, maybe early 2015, and the circumstance of the game and where it was at. So it wasn't a time where everything was stretched out, but definitely from a point of what devices and how devices you were able to kind of record is very much there. But you can see how the UI, the preparation of the teams really looked, even right the way down to the way that the game loaded, and as well it looked from the point of tiles and movements to various different placements of champions. Right the way through to the way that the rewards were given after quests, and as well the way that chests even got a new kind of like thing, the kind of like pop open like that, which is really cool. But I can imagine that took a lot of effort with the creation of it, so I can understand why Kabam decided to leave them. And yeah, back in the very early stages, I think at least for the first year of MCOC, it wasn't really as vibrant as it is now. Even with a lot of new games that come to the forefront, they have to do a lot of front-end work to make the games more appealing, especially from like a mobile game perspective. A lot of criticism is put towards those type of genres. Yes, okay, there is a criticism if a game isn't good from a PC and as well as a console standpoint. But the same thing, and you look at Cyberpunk 2077, for example. But the same thing really with mobile games. Mobile games nowadays are a lot more grindier, and as well, when it comes to grinding different elements, they have to really be of interest. The same way that Genshin Impact is really good on launch, and more so with things like 7 Deadly Sins, which has a massive supportive community behind it, especially from those that were fans of the anime. So you'd expect something really vibrant in game. And back in 2015, from the standpoint, I guess something was there for the game. No wonder so many people like downloaded it. And as well, the amount of champions being put in, they were good, but only with recent buffs have they been seen to be putting into the current meta. And that's the biggest thing. As Kabam have added in new champions, their ethos and mantra has to change to then bring a lot of these older champions to the forefront. Because let's face it, going back then, there wasn't any key champions, and there were only a small handful of god tier champions to choose from. There's a lot more with the game that has evolved. If you look at on screen at the moment, we've got a Prem Hero Crystal, and as well the way that the background works when it's got these what seems to be different part, more front end of the collector's ship, if I'm right or wrong there. The same thing with the spin, say some of the champion icons, where back a little while ago, if you got 3 stars, like back in 2014, that was still good and helpful to any kind of progression. And the same thing with anything like 4-star was like, oh my god, it was the biggest thing to get, but a 2-star was a 2-star. I also decided to break out an old video of mine where I decided to hold a rock, which I believe I referred to as Sharon Stone. My god, yes, this is back when I was level 51. And you can really see that the level of detail change here. I actually prefer this level of the collector's ship, especially if you go back to like now, and whether or not this is at the further front, or maybe there's been a facelift that I didn't really kind of like see before with this. So I'm kind of like a little bit annoyed. I'm like, I would have loved this because it looks like the front of the collector's ship is changed. But things change. Things are very different than how they were. Especially with the way that I'm delivering content. By the way, this is not me like talking right now. This is an old video, so hence like hey everybody. So but this is me back in looking at some of the stuff. So if you didn't know already, that little kind of voodoo mask type thing is actually from the people of Aegon to the right hand side. I'm not 100% sure if that is the sword of Magic or it's Heimdall's sword. It hasn't really been 100% clarified. There's obviously the Captain America shield there, and then there's a Mjolnir there. This is all changed, like at times, like things have changed dramatically, but you can see that the type of crystals, the rarity of them, Just everything is very, very different. Same can be said for the level of detail when it comes to, like, you know, the champion section and the UI and info that is given, especially from what you see on screen at the moment. As like, you can just go, wow, like, well, 5 stars were but a dream back then, and same with 6 stars as well. You can always say that the game was, I don't know, had that point where it was at in its glory days and glory years. But there's a lot of evolution that the game is doing now, and especially for the future, especially with a new type of arena being put in, incursions being put in, and so many other things. Like, the game has and still has no PvP or live PvP tendencies to it, but from a point of Alliance Wars and Alliance Quest, the evolution of that is kind of important. And we thought bases were going to be a thing back in the day, but at least to say that there's been a new arena, because that's the thing, like, even though we've kind of screamed out for a 5-star basic arena, the 5-star featured arena was something that took a long time to get in once 5 stars were put into the game, because like, who wants 4 stars and kind of like just naff champions, and also the ability to use 6 stars in the arena. So there's been a lot that's been done, and especially with the likes of variants, you know, you look at the start point of variant and look at where we are now, and it's like, it's good to see that there's been those kind of bits of content. But even back then, even talking about the idea of champions, it was a very different place. And I'll have to really figure out how I was recording stuff, and I've got to find a better cable, because the way that the I tell you, this looks pretty slick when it comes to the delivery. And yeah, just to let you know, this is me talking about stuff. I'm talking about the Spider-Man Classic, but yeah, look at the ability section and talking about the buffs that the champion gets, or precision, armor break, and other stuff, and as well where the awakened abilities are, how to access. It is very different from a UI standpoint, and your accessibility. It's a lot better now than it ever was back then. This also came at a time of like name changes and name things. Like, I'm still at the point to record this video. It also was the big thing about name changes. Like, so you can still see I'm level 56 at the point when I recorded this video back a long time ago. But yeah, like, look, this is Daredevil. It's not Daredevil Netflix, or it is Daredevil Hell's Kitchen, which it was. There's a lot of things as well, just like changed with names right the way through to this Scarlet Witch Classic. You know, so many things as well. And even in this video, I'm talking about the idea of like, well, because there's like a punk version of Storm, it's not the 90s version, and whether or not it'd be good to see like different and various types of versions of characters. So yes, Marvel Contest of Champions has indeed come a long way, especially from the first conception of it back in 2014, and where it planned to go, and what it was meant to achieve, and as well what is enjoyable for a player in this game. Now, I thought I'd put this little video together as I'm doing some other content at the moment, and I'm kind of looking forward to creating something a bit different, but I wanted to have a little look back of where we were with the game, how it looked, and where we are now. Especially with those UI changes, those synergy placements and how they used to ping up. Man, it's certainly been a fun time so far. This has been a little weekend deep dive video, and hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe for more Marvel Contest of Champions content. As now I'm going to be starting work in preparing more guide based videos on this channel, so a lot less on the information side of things and more on the guides and champion interaction type videos will be the way of the future on the channel. But thanks very much for supporting. See you all very soon. Bye bye for now.